Oh, you thought I was done talking about Doctor Who just because the current season finished airing. Oh, that's cute. Yeah, I got stuff to do, bases to cover. I have to do my overall thoughts on the season. I need to rank the episodes. I am, against my better judgment, gonna do a video talking a bit about the ratings. Plus, there's overdue Doctor Who next week. So, between all those things and today's video, I am going to be talking about Doctor Who for the next 5 videos. But before we get to any of that, a bit came up in the news. Now, this is unconfirmed, at least at the time I'm recording this. It was not 100% confirmed, but it is being reported by multiple outlets. And given the way that the Timeless Children ended, I am inclined to think it might be the case. And even if it's not, I want to share my thoughts anyways. So it is looking like the characters of Graham and Ryan are done, and they will appear in the next special, which they haven't confirmed yet if that is going to be another New Year's or a Christmas. I think the inclination was to move it back to Christmas, but I don't think any of that's confirmed yet. But that they are effectively done. And to jump to the end and then explain, I think that's a really good idea. Now, that's not because I don't like Graham and Ryan. I like them both quite a bit. Graham especially. Graham has been a highlight, especially in Series 11. He was one of the highlights of what was an otherwise very uneven series. And Ryan, while not a strong character on his own, again, especially in Series 11, his relationship with Graham was one of the highlights. The two of them together had a really good dynamic. And Ryan has also kind of grown on me a bit as the show has gone on. And I've said more than a few times, basically until the second half of Series 12 started airing, that Yaz felt like dead weight, and if they were going to cut anybody, they should cut her. I actually now think that if they were going to ditch anybody, ditching Graham and Ryan and leaving just Yaz and the Doctor is the better move. Not because Yaz is in some way an inherently better character than the other two. She's not. But I think this is a good thing for the Doctor as a character. Basically, this comes down to 3 companions with a brand new Doctor was a bad idea. I've always felt it was a bad idea, but I feel like I'm actually starting to get a firmer grip on just why that was a bad idea rather than just saying it felt crowded. It did feel crowded, but here's a thing. And now, folks who listen to the podcast, yes, there's a Council of Geeks podcast, they would have heard me talk about recently the Big Finish audio drama, Winter for the Adept, which is a 5th Doctor Big Finish. And one of the tangents I got on in there was talking about how part of why I think I had trouble, and still have trouble, connecting with the 5th Doctor is I feel like he doesn't have a definitive companion relationship. He doesn't have at least I haven't seen the one relationship where I'm like, oh, it's through the eyes of this connection with this companion that I better understand the Doctor. Because every other Doctor has that. For the first Doctor, I would argue that it's Susan. You could also argue it's Ian and Barbara, but those dynamics really core essential to his character. Second Doctor, Jamie, easy. Third Doctor is Jo Grant. Fourth Doctor, depending on your taste, it's either Sarah Jane or it's Romana. Fifth Doctor, I like... Winter for the Adept had him paired with just Nyssa, which worked pretty well, but during the show, there was Nyssa and also Tegan, and I liked Tegan, but they had to share space, and they had to share space with Adric for a while, so he didn't get the chance to connect with them and have what felt like the definitive relationship. I would also say it didn't really happen for 6 during the show, but they found his definitive companion in Big Finish with Evelyn Smythe. And then 7, it was Ace. 8, again, you kind of have to go to Big Finish by default, but 9, it was Rose. 10, I argue it's Donna. 11, it's Amy. And then with 12, I argue it's Bill. Some people will say Clara. And 13, there isn't a definitive relationship that is defining her. And the thing is, I have a certain, I'm getting the 13th Doctor better as time goes on, but there's still a certain amount of distance between her and me, much like there's a certain amount of distance between me and Davison, the 5th Doctor, because I don't have that hook in to be able to see that defining relationship that gives me insight into who they are. Because that whole list I just rambled through, that's not me just showing off, like, hey, I remember these companions. No. The nature of those relationships, the way the Doctor interacted with those characters, the way those relationships changed, if they did, over time, said a lot about how that Doctor was as a person. It communicated a lot about them in a way that just them reacting to circumstances doesn't. And lacking that, or having to spread those interactions across 3 characters, makes that connection weaker. And it means that I'm losing insight into the Doctor. And it's holding me to a certain degree at arm's length. And the reason I think if they're going to trim down the companions, it is the best idea to have Ryan and Grimm go, is because I feel, honestly, Ryan and Grimm are a package deal. They come together and they should. I mean, it's not like they share every scene together, but their relationship is such that I would have a very hard time buying that one of them would stay if the other left. And beyond that, it would just feel odd because the two of them, like, touching base all the time was just kind of a staple. Whereas Yaz is much more of a solo flyer. And I think unencumbered by Ryan and Graham, again, not to imply that they were dragging things down, but they were taking up space physically and in the runtime, removing them so that somebody like Yaz, or, I mean, honestly, even a new character, but I would say go with Yaz because I feel like there's a building connection there. Having that connection become stronger and clearer and giving us the ability to zero in on it and really see what this relationship, this specific one, brings out of the Doctor, whether she goes with it, whether she opens up, whether she fights it. Because again, when it's spread across 3 characters, it's hard to know. Like, the Doctor seems squirrely and secretive, but she also has to spread her interactions across all 3, and she can kind of get away with, well, you know, I'm doing my best with all of you here. If she was being as secretive with only one companion as she has been with all 3, that would feel like a much bigger insight into her as a person. Whereas, you know, she's in a crowd. Maybe she just can't find the time to connect and bond with them the way that we've seen other Doctors do with other companions. But you get her with just one, that excuse goes out the window, and then everything has more meaning. If she opens up, we get why, because she's in a more intimate setting. If she doesn't open up, even when she's only got one companion there, that will still tell us a lot more than we currently know. And when I say things we don't know, I'm not talking about history and background and lore. I'm talking about as a person, about how she processes, about how she relates, about how she connects or fails to connect with people. We've had moments from the 13th Doctor that felt like insights. I would argue that that moment between her and Graham at the end of Can You Hear Me is one. I did a video about that moment. But those sorts of things have been few and far between. And I feel like the easiest way to get more of them so that we can get better insight on this Doctor is to trim the companions, bring it down to one, and I think Yaz is a good candidate. So what do you think about this idea? Trimming it down and having it be just Yaz? Or do you think they should keep all 3? Do you think it's better to keep someone other than Yaz? Whatever your thoughts are on whatever I've said, drop something down in the comments. Let's talk about it. Be polite and please stay on topic. It's been an issue lately that people in the Doctor Who comments are dropping in on videos that are not about the thing they want to complain about, but they still complain about, like, stay on topic, please. I will delete comments. I'm getting fed up with that. But in any case, there's that, plus the usual things like and subscribe and share the video and maybe check out my Patreon or Amazon wishlist or my P.O. box if you want to send me something. It's my birthday this month. I'll actually be opening everything that I get on a live stream the Tuesday after my birthday. So you have that to look forward to. You still got time to get stuff to me. Stuff started coming. I haven't opened any of it yet. I'm actually quite excited. Anyway, enough about me, because this isn't really about me. You're the council. I'm just running the meetings. And until next time, this council is adjourned. What was that?